Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeffrey Schultz, and I am a master's student in computer science attending Concordia University, Chicago. In this video, I will be demonstrating the most useful and popular Linux commands that I went over in my previous video. So if you have not watched that one, where I explain all of these, I highly recommend watching that one before you watch this one. So let's begin. So the first thing we're going to want to be able to do is to create a file to do before we can do anything. So the way we're going to do that, if you remember, if you watched it, you're going to use the command touch, and we can name this file whatever we want. So let's just name something really easy, file1.txt. So this is just a basic text file that we're going to create. So there we go. Now we're going to want to make a directory. So let's do mkdir. If you remember, this is how we make a directory if you watched my last video. And let's just call it something really simple, demo directory. Because obviously, if we're making a directory, we need to name it something. So let's do that. So now, let's type in the command ls to list everything. And as you can see right here, here is my demo directory that we just created. And here is my file1.txt that we created. These are just some of my personal folders that I've created over the years. But here are the two, file1.txt and demo directory that we just created. So moving on. Let's move this file that we just created into the directory, which is why we created those two things first. So we're going to use the command mv, if you remember. And we need to type in the source, which is obviously the file. And we want to move it to wherever, the destination, which is going to be demo directory. So there we go. So next on, let's go to that directory to make sure that this worked properly. So we're going to type in cd, change directory, in the directory name we want to go to. So demo directory. So now, as you can see, we are in demo directory, but let's just confirm. To show what current directory we are in, we want to type in pwd, which stands for print working directory. So let's type that in really quick. And as you can see, it prints me the path to it. So users, my name, and then we are in demo directory. But that's just also, like I said, we can see that through our command line prompt. It goes from the home directory to now we are in demo. So now let's do ls again to show that here's our file that we created. And obviously we want to be able to copy this. I want to demonstrate the copy command. So before we can actually copy anything, we need to put some contents into this file. Because like I said, this just created the file. We need some contents in it. So there's actually a command I did not go over, but it's called pico. It's just a basic text editor in Linux. So let's type in pico file1.txt. Go into there, and let's just type in something really basic like hello Linux. So we do command X, save it, you type in Y, enter. So now what we want to do is we want to copy this file, the contents of this file, to another one. So cp from our file that we are starting from, and whatever the new file we want to copy it to. So let's just call this file file2.txt. So there we go. And now let's type in ls again, and as you can see, that new file was created. So now let's make sure that the copy command actually worked. Yes, we can see that this file was created, but let's make sure that the contents of it actually copied. So in order to print the contents of a file, we type in more file2.txt, enter, and as you can see, it prints out hello Linux for us. And you just got to hit enter again after doing this, so it gives you to the new line. So now let's change some permissions, because I went over all these basic commands, but I also went over some permissions in my last video, so let's do this. So the command we would use for this is chmod, and we want to do, let's maybe add the executable permission to the others. So we would do O plus X of all files that are called file, or let's do fi $2.txt. So what this means is I'm adding the executable permission to the others for all files that follow this pattern. So I'm using both wildcards. So this stands for all, but it's got to be all files that only have this matching. So fi $. So this would just stand, the question mark stands for a single character. So we obviously only have one file that would fit this, file2 file2.txt. So let's add this permission. So there we go. And now if we want to be able to make sure that that worked, to be able to list permissions, we do the command ls-l. I went over this in my last video. This is the long listing. So if we do this, we obviously see that for file2.txt, we have, since we use the copy command, it is the same exact permissions for it. We have the executable file for file2, X, and X for file1. So copied for both of them. So as you can see, read write for me. So it's U, the first three, the minus is the directory we are in. So demo directory, RWX, RWX, RWX. So read write executable for users, groups, and other. And because I just added the executable for others, you see the X there in the last one because the others is the last three letters. So this worked properly. So now if we want to be able to just, now that I've demoed all this, I want to demonstrate how to be able to remove files and move back up. So rm, we're going to do rm file1.txt since we don't need it, since we actually just updated the permissions for file 2 that we need. And now if we want to, before I can demonstrate how to empty a directory, I need to clear all of its contents. So now that we've removed this, let's type in ls again. We only have file 2 left, so let's remove that file, rm file2.txt, ls again, and now we see there are no more contents of this. So let's move back up, and if you remember how to move up a layer, obviously we only moved down one layer. We went from the home directory to demo directory. So if we want to move back up one layer, back to the home directory where we started, we're going to just type in cd ... And now you can see we are back in the home directory right here. So now that our directory is empty, let's remove it. rmdir, remove directory of the directory name, which is demo directory. So enter, and now let's type in ls again, and now we can see in alphabetical order, I have no more demo directory because it would show up right here, probably under my data grip, which is just a database IDE that I use. But it would be right in here, and you can see it's gone. So now let's again, now that I've demoed everything, we can just type in clear to clear all this, so we got a clear screen. And the last command I went over is just groups. So this just kind of shows what groups we're in, and we literally just type in groups, and as you can see, here are all the groups that I am a part of. Since this is my own computer, I'm a part of admin, app server admin, all of these different ones. So that's everything. I hope you guys learned something new. I hope these commands all make sense in real time. So be sure to like, comment, and share on this video, and have a great day.